Okay, my name's Marilee, and I am 80 years old, and I'm originally from New York, transplanted to Oregon 20 years ago, and now here. I'd like to back up a little and give a couple of years' history. So at my age, there comes to be a couple of events that makes you wonder. And mine started, it was almost 4 years ago. I had a hip replacement. And as I was recuperating, my knee went out. And as I was recuperating from that, I got shingles and ended up in the hospital. And it was one thing after another for almost a year that made me wonder whether or not this was the beginning of the end. I made a decision to give it one more try and get my health back. And then I noticed I was tripping and falling a lot. And that went on for over a year. I had a grandson born, and I was asked in order to visit to get a DTaP shot. Not being into vaccines, but I wanted to meet my grandson. I did it. And 4 months later, I was diagnosed with emphysema. One thing after another for 4 years. And again, I said, what am I going to do? So I came to Mexico. I was walking with some friends down the sidewalk, and the ultimate trip happened. I fell on the sidewalk, bloody face, black eye, and I got a concussion. 3 weeks later, I wasn't feeling any better. So it was a big decision point for me, and I was able, through a friend, to find a doctor who did neurotherapy. And she had these machines that measured the frequency of all of your organs. And she measured mine, particularly my brain, and said, you have a few problems. And so I stayed there for a little over a week getting treatments, which included withdrawing my blood and mixing it with, she called it the German liquid. I presume they were stem cells. So after a week, 8 days, I was feeling better, not good. So each of these things was, each time I recouped some, but never to the original state I started in. When I left there, I came here to Zihuatanejo, Ixtapa, and I had heard Bo's reputation. And that's when I contacted her, and last winter came for a session or two. And it's all been history since, because I can't separate what she was doing from the Brown's gas, from all of that. All I know is, at this point, I do not have emphysema anymore. I believe I got every treatment she offered. Primarily the Raynor, the reflexology, cupping, ozone, PEMF, and every time I came, she started me out with 20 minutes on the Brown's gas. At first I didn't notice any effect of the Brown's gas, but after a while I did. A little more clarity of thought, more energy. The tendency to depression that I had was gone. My motivation to do things was better. And it took a couple of months, but I stopped tripping and falling. And in fact, I'd say over the past 4 months, I haven't tripped or fallen once. I can't separate it out. I think it's cumulative, and just whatever way it was done was right for me. No one treatment stood out in general, except for, well, I would say the Raynor, because that was done most. It was cumulative, it was just over time. I got better and better because of the way she chose and implemented it. My daily life's been impacted. I'm functioning as well as I did 4 or 5 years ago. I found really large changes. Physically, I'm not tripping, I'm not falling, I'm sleeping really well. Emotionally, my motivation is back. My motivation for life. No experiencing depressive episodes. My energy is better. I am back playing pickleball 3 times a week. And most people have no idea how old I am. But I'm keeping up with the 40 and 50-year-olds. Whatever she is doing and has been doing, I just trust her implicitly, which I've never said about any other practitioner that I've worked with. Yes, it has totally addressed my needs and restored me to a place that I didn't think I could regain. Working with Baudre is fun. I have to say, in the beginning, when she started some of the treatments, they were pretty painful. I tried to be stoic and not show emotion. And when I finally gave in and released some stuff, that's when I noticed that the emotional releases were almost as powerful as the physical releases she was bringing about. And so at this point, okay, I just allow her to do her thing and I react. And my energy is good. Watching her work, I think about the pain and where it's going, and then when I got to the point where I could relax enough to get into the emotional release, I just allowed it to happen, and I wasn't in my head, so it's hard to describe. But afterwards, I'd say I felt refreshed. I felt like more would be good. One of the first ones was because of the emphysema, I had so much mucus in my lungs, and I started coughing and coughing. I think I used a whole box of tissues with the crap that came up. I would not originally have called that an emotional release, but I can breathe deeply again. So whatever was released has given me much more ability to be present. I would like to mention that this doctor that I saw with the neurotherapy, I was feeling so good that when I left here, I decided to go back to her and ask her to do the frequency reading on my organs again before I went back to the States. No extra treatments, from Bo to that. And so what she did was hook all the electrodes up to me again and do this neurotherapy reading. And this doctor looks at me and says, "You are in such good shape." And I had her print out a couple of the charts, and I told Bo that I wanted to give a testimonial after that because there's hard data about the improvements that she brought. And after I saw that data and how I was feeling, I decided the best investment I could make was to get myself a Brown's machine. I was not at that point 100% committed, let me say addicted to it, like I am now. So when I got back in the States and ordered it and got it, I started using it as the video said, 20 minutes here, a half hour there, and I was feeling good. And I invited my daughter to try it, and her eyes opened up and she wanted to take it home with her. And then about a month into it, I decided I didn't have the time to sit and just use the Brown's machine. So I moved it into my bedroom and hooked it up so that I could sleep with it. And that's when I started using it during sleep. The difference is remarkable. As I mentioned, I'm playing pickleball again. I'm not falling. My energy is good. I have not had negative moods. And I've been through quite a bit of stress the past couple of months in selling my house. And I got through it because of the Brown's gas. I have recommended the clinic, Baudre and Brown's gas, to everyone who says, "Boy, you look good, what's happened?" Since coming to Bo for treatments and using the Brown's gas, I have since realized that the medication I'd been taking for over 25 years was less needed. And so we worked for a month to gradually pull me off of, I was on Adderall for my ADHD for 25 years. And one of the things that made me interested in coming off it was when I had the neurotherapy, and they showed me that my liver was not doing all that well. So when I approached Bo, she said, "Yes, let's do it." And over a month period or whatever, we pulled myself off. And it is now 5 months since I have taken a pill. Every once in a while I have a bad day, but for the most part, I am free of it. And on my way back to the States, when I had one of the reasons I wanted to have that data reading again, my liver was already healing. Because most people do not realize the long-term damage that's done by medications.